Hello guys, this is Peter here and welcome to Guild Wars 1. We are glad to have you here and hopefully after watching this video you will learn a thing or two about this game. So I had an old beginner's guide, but I'm not too satisfied with that. Bad sound quality due to a cheap microphone and also a new series of updates are on the horizon since Guild Wars Reforged is live, and I thought, hey, let's refresh this topic and make an updated, fingers crossed, a better, improved beginner's guide. Take a look, this is what we are going to cover in this video. Now, if you are only interested in one or two topics, I will put timestamps into the description so you can fast forward to those parts. Also, I know I have a pretty strong Hungarian accent, but don't worry because there are subtitles available. Anyway, I think before we start this guide, we should talk about the current status of the game, so Guild Wars 1 history in a nutshell. The first campaign, called Prophecies, was released in 2005. Back then this was simply called Guild Wars. So we had 4 character slots, 6 playable professions, and the game itself was quite challenging, and if you were able to beat the missions and finish the campaign, you were pretty much satisfied and was considered a good player. Around 1 year after, we've got another campaign called Factions, 2 new playable professions, 2 more character slots, introduction to new PvP, and a bunch of interesting stuff. Then we jump a bit more and now comes the third campaign, Nightfall, and we get another 2 classes and 2 more character slots. So there could have been a 4th campaign called Utopia, but it was cancelled in its early stages, and we've got an expansion called Eye of the North instead. So right now, as in 2026, we have 3 campaigns, 1 expansion and a bunch of other add-ons like Warring Krita, Hearts of the North and Winds of Change. The game's golden age was probably between 2005 and 2008, then a few years have passed and we reached 2012 when Guild Wars 2 was released, and sadly Guild Wars 1 has lost quite many players because of that, and most of the developers have stopped working on the game. For many years the game was in a maintenance state and worked in an automated way, there were no big updates and the player base was in decline, but every now and then there was some sparks, like we've got 10 new elite skills and new weapon skins for the 15th anniversary in 2020, and fast forward another 5 years later, we've got new quests, mini pets and even more weapon skins in 2025 for the 20th anniversary. Then, just before Christmas in 2025, really out of nowhere, Guild Wars Reforged happened and the player base skyrocketed like crazy. By the way, Guild Wars Reforged is not a remaster, more like a series of quality of life and other updates. Like if you want, you can play the game from a controller now, and we've got 2 new game modes, a new outpost and a bunch of cool stuff. I don't want to go into too much detail yet, let's just say that the game is in a very interesting phase now, like a second Bloom or something like that. Okay, this was enough history lesson for today. If you have downloaded the client and created your account, just type your account name and your password and log in. If you have a brand new account, you should see no characters yet. And before we create a new character, let's take a look at this edit account icon, because this is kind of important. You can change your email address, your password, your mailing address, and most importantly you can add access keys to your account. Like if you want to buy something from the Guild Wars store, click on this and you will see what extra features your account already has, and if you want to add new skins or more character slots or anything like that, click on add key, paste the code, and that's all. Alright, now let's create a new character. We have 2 options, role-playing character or a PvP only character. A role-playing character is a player versus environment character basically, or in other words a PvE character. The main difference is that a role-playing character can play PvP too, but a PvP only character can do the missions, the quest, the story and so on. Okay, this guide is meant for role-playing characters, so choose this one. Okay, you will have another 3 options now, Prophecies, Factions and Nightfall, the 3 campaigns. Guys, good to know, you can visit any of the 3 campaigns with any of the characters. There are hardly any restrictions, you can do missions and quests and all you want with any character. The campaign will mostly define which primary professions your character can choose and not where you can go or what you can do. Now, if you choose Prophecies, you will have access to the 6 core classes: Warrior, Ranger, Monk, Elementalist, Mesmer and Necromancer. Prophecies has the biggest nostalgia factor. If you want to relive the 2005 era, this is a good choice, especially now that the Reforged update is live, but keep in mind that you will be leveling significantly slower than you would in the other 2 campaigns. and it will take quite a long time to be able to change your secondary profession too. There is a unique tutorial area here called Pre-Searing. This is probably the most chill place in the whole game, beautiful landscapes, friendly community, and some players never leave this place and maintain several so-called perma-pre characters. Also, if you are thinking about maxing titles in this game, Pre-Searing offers one extra title called Legendary Defender of Ascalon, or LDOA as we call it. Now this can be a great help later when you are trying to reach an achievement called Dhuum, the 30 max title. Now if you choose factions, you will have access to 2 more professions, Assassin and Ritualist. Compared to Prophecies, factions offer a faster paced leveling, and you can change your secondary professions after a few hours of gaming, and you can visit other campaigns relatively fast. There is a somewhat big jump in difficulty once you leave the small island and you start doing things on the continent, so factions might not be very beginner friendly. However, the 2 factions only classes, Asa and Ritu, have very easy to use builds, so if you start in factions but visit other campaigns after you reach the big island, that can also work and might be easier to beginners. Okay, Nightfall provides another 2 professions, the Dervish and the Paragon. Similarly to factions, you can level up quite fast here too, and the best thing is that you will get some allies called heroes. Now I haven't talked about this yet, but you can play Guild Wars with real players, or you can add heroes or henchmen to your party, kind of like a single player mode if you want. Well, in the beginning, in Prophecies and in factions, you won't have access to heroes for a long time, so you will be forced to rely on henchmen or on real players. Henchmen will be doing a decent job though, but you can change their skills or weapons, so they have limitations. Heroes, on the other hand, can be customized as much as you want. Of course, if you choose Prophecies or factions, you will still get heroes later in the game, but not in the first parts of your journey. And because of this, in my opinion at least, Nightfall might be the most beginner friendly in the beginning, since you will have heroes on your side who will help you out. By the way, you can mix things up, the order of campaigns and the progression is kind of flexible. For example, if you start in Prophecies and reach level 10 and make your way to Lion's Arch, then you can go to Eye of the North to quickly grab some easy to get heroes. The same can be done in factions, just reach level 10, make your way to Kaineng City, and then you can travel to Eye of the North and get your first heroes. Then you can continue doing your initial campaign as normal, but you will have way stronger NPCs by your side. Okay, select any of the 3 campaigns, and now you should choose your primary profession. Guys, this is important. You can change your primary profession later in the game, only your secondary one. But you can try skills from your secondary class as well, so you can have a taste of any professions like that. Just a few notes about each class. Warriors are the typical hack and slash toon with a hammer, sword or axe and a shield. Rangers can have a pet and rely on ranged attacks. Monks are a healer and protector class. Necromancers can create epic minion armies or put deadly hexes on their enemies. Mesmers can manipulate others, slow down or confuse opponents. Elementalists have the 4 elements, air, water, earth and fire magic to destroy their enemies. Assassins have daggers, a typical stealth character. Ritualists can summon powerful spirits to help them in battle or to support their allies. Paragons can buff their teammates with different shouts, chants or echoes, plus they have spears to deal damage. And dervishes have epic avatar forms, and they attack with a scythe, and they have many powerful enchantments. So I could talk for a long time about each class, but to keep this video somewhat short, let me advertise my own video instead. If you don't know which profession to choose, this video might help you out. Okay, after that choose male or female, and honestly it doesn't really matter, it's just the appearance, and only their voice, their dancing will change, not their skills or their strength. Okay, now you can customize your character, change the face, hair color, hair type and skin color. One tip here, if you use the scroll wheel on your mouse, you can zoom in and zoom out, and you can rotate your character if you hold the right click and move your mouse. Okay, here you can play with the height and you can dye your armor. The dyeing only affects your first armor set, and sooner or later you will get a new armor set as you level up, so don't worry about the color, and of course you can dye your armor in game as well. Right, give a name to your character, and you remember when I said that the Reforged update gave us 2 new game modes? Well, they are still under construction, but you can tick those 2 options here if you want to give them a try. The first one, Dhuum's Covenant, is a challenging optional game mode currently in beta testing. Basically the task is completing a game without dying. Characters created with Dhuum's Covenant may continue to be played after their death, but failing the Covenant will result in the participation being removed. So if you are looking for a big challenge and want to beat the campaign's max titles without dying, this game mode will be perfect for you. Obviously this is some next level expert stuff, not beginner friendly, but hey, if you are in the mood, go for it. Your character will not be destroyed if you die, you can still play with it and do any content, but you will lose this badge at your character's name. The second option is only for the Prophecies campaign. This is called the Reforged mode. This is a new experimental game mode currently in alpha testing. This game mode adds changes to the Prophecies campaign, most notably additional content in Pre-Searing. All features of the Reforged mode are only accessible when all characters in the party are in Reforged mode, and you will get things like a small badge next to your character's name, and you will gain 5% more gold coins and 5% more experience points from killing enemies in explorable areas. These two game modes are not completed yet, so take these details with a grain of salt, these things might change yet. Check your character's appearance and name twice, because once you have created your new character, you can only change these things for real money from the Guild Wars store with the makeover pack, the extreme makeover, and the character name change. I mean, they are not that pricey, but still don't pay for things that you can change for free. Okay, there will be some loading screen and an intro. I highly recommend you watch these cutscenes on your first walkthrough, because good to know the story and some background info about the lore. If you have created your character in the Prophecies campaign, you will be taken to an outpost immediately. Now if you choose Factions or Nightfall, you must do some cardio first and walk a few meters to reach the Gatekeeper NPC and enter the first outpost. On default you can move by the WASD buttons or the arrows, or simply by left clicks. Okay, we have reached the first outpost, let's talk about the interface and the controls. Top left corner, district selection. You may think that this is similar to servers in other games, but honestly I'm not that sure, because you can travel freely from one district to another. If there are a lot of players in one district, a new one will be created so that the original district doesn't become too crowded with players. If you want to find company during your adventures, you should check the American English district, or just AE as we call it, because that's where most players are. This is your experience bar. It shows your current level and how many more experience points you need for the next level. If you press the left control and click on this bar, you can display your progression and show it to your teammates. Then we have the chat window. You can reach this if you click on this small icon, or if you press 0. We have a few different types. Local chat is all the chit chat that happens in an outpost. There is a guild chat for guild members. Team chat is for party members. Trade is quite obvious, I think. Alliance might be less obvious. An alliance is a group of guilds from 2 guilds up to 10 guilds. Guilds can be either Kurzik or Luxon. These things come from the Factions campaign. Basically you have to choose a side you support and your alliance represents that. And we have a bunch of different emotes, like if you type /dance or /jump and so on, you can do different interactions. Okay, next one is your health and energy bar. The red one is your health points, or HP in short. The blue is your energy or mana. These small arrows mean that this character has 2 pips of energy regeneration, or in other words, each pip of energy regen generates 1 energy every 3 seconds. The majority of skills cost some energy. The more energy regen you have, the easier you can use multiple skills. This thing with the numbers from 1 to 8 is our skill bar. There are a maximum of 8 skills allowed at the same time, but you can change this anytime in an outpost, and there are thousands or maybe tens of thousands or even more variations of skills. Okay, press the key button and you will see all your skills. We like to call this thing a build or a template, and you will see players referring to certain builds all the time, and usually in abbreviations like ST, SOS, BIP and so on. Then this is the weapon bar. If you press I, you will get the inventory menu. Here you can see your character's 5 armor pieces and all your loot. Now click on the weapon sets and you can display additional maximum 4 weapon sets. This is a very useful tool to change weapons fast in combat. To quickly change weapons, just use F1, F2, F3 and F4. Few more tips regarding your inventory. You see this F5 thing. If you press it, you can display this bag. Now if you have multiple bags, you can switch between the bags with the F5, 6, 7 and F8 keys, or you can even display them all with F9. I like to play like this so I can reach some items fast during combat. If you want to delete items from your bag, you can either drop them outside of town or drag the item to the trash bin. Okay, then there is the party window. This number shows how many players can be in a group at the same time. To add a party member, click on a character's name or type the name in this tab and just hit enter or click on this plus icon and you can invite them to your party. There is a search function too for missions, quests and trades as well. Now if you check the top right corner, this is called the compass. I will talk more about this later. Now just remember that this is where you can see the location of allies and enemies compared to your location. And a few more buttons we use. The U is the minimap, very useful during missions and quests. You can make it smaller or bigger if you drag the corner of this window, and you can zoom in or zoom out with the scroll wheel. Anyway, you can keep these windows open if you click on this very small icon, and now even if you press escape, this window will not close. Okay, a few more useful buttons. Press Age. This is the hero panel, and you will see all your achievements, so-called titles here, and some PvP related things as well. L is our quest log. All your quests are listed here. If you click on one, this will become your active quest and your map will show you which way to go. The world map is the M button. We used it mostly to travel between campaigns and to fast travel from one outpost to another outpost. And this travel icon is how you can go from prophecies to factions or to Nightfall and vice versa, but only if your character has unlocked the major cities. So if you have just created a character in prophecies, you will be not able to travel to factions for a long time. By the way, you can customize your interface as much as you want. To do that, simply press F11 and go to the interface tab, and you can make several windows disappear. Just untick those options that you don't want to see. And you can make windows smaller or bigger as well. Now, if you are interested, I can show you my favorite setup. I like to extend the chat window more. You know, if you are playing and there are many drops and many messages, it's good to have a bigger chat window. And I'm not a fan of the quest tracker thing, so I turn it off usually, but this might be useful for those who are playing from a controller. And I like to display my inventory with F9 and get rid of the border. So just go to F11, General tab, and tick the collapsed inventory bag view. That's all. This is my setup that I've been using for many years, and I like to keep it simple. Sometimes I make the compass bigger for certain endgame stuff, but this is only occasionally. Now, if we are already in the settings menu, let's see what options are worth talking about. Text and audio language is quite obvious. Chat filter level is just if you are worried about some curse words, turn it off if you want. Pre-game scene, you can reach this from the character selection screen too. And another important button, the menu icon. Click on this one and you will see some most common commands, and you can also log out and select another character here. Or just press F12 and you can do it faster. Okay, like I said, you can reach the settings menu from the character selection screen too, and this way you can try different scenes. Press F11 again and enjoy the old ones too. This also came from the Reforged update, and we are forever grateful for the developer team that they finally gave us this feature. Okay, back to the settings. Field of view is another good one. Drag the slider to the right side if you want a wider, bigger point of view. And I think camera rotation speed is obvious. If you want to test it, press and hold right click and move your mouse. Okay, if we go further, there are many more options. Just to name a few. Hide account name, this is also a new feature. So if you are thinking about streaming, this is a very useful option to not share your account's info accidentally. These two auto-target fools and NPCs lines are also good. I will cover targeting very soon in one of the next chapters. Then there is the chat timestamps, which kind of helps sometimes if you see the time in the chat. We have already covered the collapsed inventory bag view, and there are another two good lines, the show ally, NPC and item names, and the show full name and player names. If you don't have these ticked, you must press and hold the left control button all the time when you want to see the names of allies or enemies. Okay, let's see the graphics tab. I prefer the windowed full screen because I'm using a secondary monitor too, and I can move my mouse from one screen to the other very easily. And I prefer interface size on normal. You can play with this too, make icons really small or really big, personal preference again. If your graphic card can handle, choose the highest quality. And now let's check the sound. When I'm listening to the in-game music, I like the music louder than the effects or the UI, hence why this setup. Of course you can mute the game when it's in the background, but for me during streaming this isn't really advised, so my viewers can enjoy the music without interruptions, even when I'm doing stuff outside of the game. Then there is the controls tab, lots of different options, and I think it's best to explain those in action, and I will do that in the next chapter. And finally there is the interface tab and gamepad. The latter is only for those who are playing from controllers, not for PC users. Alright, let's talk about controls and combat. I will be talking about the default settings, but feel free to change it as much as you want in the options menu. So to move your character you have three options. You can click with the mouse, simple left click, or use the WASD buttons. This way you can turn around and you can use the arrows as well. Now press K to see all your skills and attributes. Here all your attributes are listed, your primary and your secondary attributes too, and all the skills in those categories. Click on any skill and simply drag them into your skill bar. Then put some points into your chosen attributes and that's all. Okay, if you have some skills in your build, let's go outside and try some very simple combat related things like targeting an enemy and attacking. So unlike in other MMOs, in Guild Wars 1 there are different instances or so-called explorable areas that are specifically generated by the game for you and for your party, meaning if you leave an outpost, you will not see random players, only your selected teammates will be there with you and you don't have to worry about others stealing your loot or experience points or anything like that. Okay, just run through the portal to enter the explorable area. You will see a loading screen again. There is going to be one before each new place, and the game might download more files when you visit new campaigns or travel to new regions. So guys, this thing, the compass, is our bread and butter. The red dots are the enemies, the green dots are the allies. The most important of all is the white small circle. This is the danger zone or your aggro range, or in other words, if a red dot crosses this circle, an enemy or a group of enemies might start attacking you. You can travel safely as long as there are no red dots too close. So to target an enemy you have several options again. My favorite is to press C. This will automatically find the nearest foe, and you can click on the foe's name too, and this will initiate an attack move, but only if you have a weapon in your hands. To do that, simply double click a weapon in the inventory. A quick way to attack, and this is how I do it, is to use C and space, and you might have heard about C spacing in chat. This is quite common, I think. Basically, if you have any weapon in your hands, your character will start auto-attacking the closest target. To be honest, this is quite comfortable, and you can press the tabulator button to get another target. So 99% of the time I do something like this: C and space, use a few skills, kill the target, then tab, use some more skills, and another tab and another target. You can destroy targets very fast like this. Now in order to use skills you have many options again. I guess you have figured it out already. You can do almost everything in this game with the mouse and with the left click. And that's right, you can click on your skills too. All you need is a target, so press C and click on some skills. This isn't the fastest way, of course. Generally speaking, clicking skills is slow, especially when you are using very fast recharging skills. You better use the keyboard. By default it's the numbers from 1 to 8, and you can activate skills way faster like this. Well, I was never able to get used to that, so through the years I have made a mix of things. Maybe this will be more comfortable for you too. So this is how I play. I use the first 4 or 5 skills with the numbers from 1 to 8, and I click the last 3 or 4 skills with my mouse. All you need is to arrange your skills so that your most important ones are on the left side and the rest are on the right side. Right hand on the mouse, left hand on the controls and on the WASD buttons. This way I can move perfectly and also activate skills very quickly. Okay, so what if you can't beat your opponent? Well, that's when you have to stop fighting and break aggro. If you have some extra movement speed, that helps a lot of course, but even if you don't have any and you just walk, After some time the enemy will stop chasing you and it will go back to their original spot. So they are like guarding particular spots, and very rarely you will find patrolling groups too. So breaking aggro is usually easy unless you are overwhelmed by the enemy or something is slowing you down. Once you break aggro, then you can regenerate HP and energy and you can fight again. The HP and energy regen is automatic and starts after a few seconds, but only if you don't have some HP degen on you or some other negative effects. Now let's see how you can give targets to your teammates. Target an enemy again and press the left control and hit the spacebar. This will also display an "I'm attacking XYZ" sentence in the team chat. If your teammates do this, you can catch their targets by pressing the T button. This is very important in endgame areas or in PvP battles so that all party members focus on the same target. Especially for healers, but for other characters too, the self-target key is also important, so press F to target yourself. For support roles, the party window is needed to be able to target your teammates more easily and more frequently. Click on the chosen teammate and then you can heal or protect or put buffs on that target depending on what skills your character has. If you are in an outpost, press F. Here you can see your character name, your gear tag and the title that you want to show off with. By the way, there is a way to share your builds too. If you are in an outpost, hold the left control and click on any of your skills. You can send this build to anyone. Click on the green skills template, have the chat window opened and click on send to chat. Also good to know, this blue floppy icon is how you can save new builds or load your previously saved builds. First, let's save our build, simply give it a name and press enter. And even players who have been playing for a long time might not know that you can create folders and organize your builds like this. Go to the documents folder and find Guild Wars, then go to templates and skills, and here just create as many folders as you want. Preferably one for each profession, and it will show up in the game. And if you want to load a build, blue floppy again, load from template, select the build and click on load. And if you receive a build from your friends or teammates, you can load their build too, just click on the green skills template again and then click on load. Of course your primary profession must be the same as the build's profession, or you can do this. If you are missing some skills in the build, those skills will be lost until you get them from quests or skill trainers. Speaking of skills, most of them you will get simply from quests and by playing the game. Other skills must be bought from the skill trainer for some gold coins, and believe it or not, but there are more than 1300 skills in Guild Wars 1. And I doubt there is one person who has used all of them or remembers all their names from memory, but I will try to give you a quick summary. So rule of thumb, almost all skills have an activation time. Basically this is how fast you can use the skill. Some skills have like 1 second or 2 seconds activation times, while some other skills have 5 or even more seconds or no activation times at all, like shouts. And almost all skills have a recharge time too. This is how fast you can use the skill again. You will see some animation and the skill icon after using it, and as long as the skill is in recharging status, you can't use it again. Like I said, most skills cost some energy to use, some skills are very energy heavy, there are a lot of different ones, so let's try with some very basic ones like spells. So all spells are skills, but not all skills are spells. Sorry guys, I don't want to confuse you. So a spell is a type of skill that has some magical effect and it can be damage to enemies, heal or some positive buff to allies, and almost all of them require some energy to use. There are a few subtypes, for example enchantment spells. This provides some positive effect to yourself or to one of your allies, and there is a yellow arrow icon at your name in the party window if you receive an enchantment. The opposite is a hex spell. This one has some negative effect and you can only put this on your enemies, and those who receive a hex get a purple or pink arrow upside down at their character's name. Item spells are the next. Those are mostly ritualist things. They provide either protection, heal to allies or damage to enemies. Characters who have item spells in their hands can't use weapons in the meantime and can't benefit from those weapon mods either. Ward spells are the next. These are magical circles and most wards come from the elementalist class, but there are other ones too, and again these can do a positive effect to allies or negative to enemies. Almost all weapon spells are ritualist skills. They change the weapon's appearance and either boost the targeted ally or help them destroy enemies faster. And finally there are the well spells. These require a fresh corpse, so necromancers use these the most often, and again either positive or negative effect. These were the spells. Now let's see some attack skills. There are hundreds of different attack skills, but all of them have one requirement. You must have a weapon equipped in order to initiate an attack. So you can cast spells without any weapons in your hands, but you can do this with attack skills, because there is no way to try hand-to-hand combat in Guild Wars 1, but it would be fun if we had. Obviously the weapon you are attacking with must be appropriate to the attack skill, so for example a hammer mastery skill can only be used with a hammer, a bow attack with a bow, and so on and so on. I mean, you can try differently, but the game will not let you do this. And there are two big types of attack skills: the melee attack and the ranged attack. Now the melee is a close combat attack performed by swords, axes, hammers, daggers or scythes, or with a pet. Ranged attacks are typically done by bows and spears. Well, technically you can attack your target from afar using a staff or a wand, but those don't have attack skills attached to them. It is worth mentioning that some skills, especially some attack skills, have no energy, but adrenaline cost. So what is adrenaline? You can build up adrenaline by attacking your target. The more hits you do, the more adrenaline you can build. And of course there are even more skill types like Signets. These don't have energy or adrenaline cost, but have quite long recharge times, and certain things are required to use them. Then there are the shouts, chants and echoes. Typically the Paragon class uses them, but there are some available for other classes too. Okay, let's not forget about rituals. Ritualists have many so-called binding rituals. They can summon spirits who either protect them or their allies, or help them destroy their enemies. Rangers have nature rituals, which provide a global effect to both allies and enemies in its area of effect. And let's not forget the touch skills. This can be only used in melee range and usually provide a negative effect to the target. Stances have no activation time, but benefits the user in a way. Blocking skills, extra armor, faster attacking speed or faster movement speed. There are many types of stances. Okay, the next one is conditions. These are a type of negative effect that is caused by a skill, and you may call this an injury or sickness too. They have a visible effect in the party window, depending on what condition you have received. Just a quick walkthrough. Bleeding causes -3 HP regen, blindness will make your attacks miss 90% of the time, burning inflicts -7 HP regen, cracked armor lowers the armor rating by 20 points, crippled will make your target move 50% slower, dazed will make your opponents cast spells twice as slow and also make their spells easy to interrupt. Deep wound lowers HP by 20% and your target receives 20% less healing as well. Disease is another HP degen condition, -4, and it can spread between creatures of the same type. Poison is also -4 HP degen, and weakness will make your target deal less damage by 66% and also reduce attribute by 1 rank. Guys, good to know, 1 pip of HP degen equals 2 damage per second, and the same goes to HP regen. And there is a maximum limit at plus or -10, so the maximum HP you may get from HP regen is 20 per second, and the maximum HP you can lose from HP degeneration is also 20 per sec. Okay, there are 2 more types of skills that are worth a few words. The first is a glyph. This is typically an elementalist feature. Glyphs modify the effect of the next spell or the next few spells. And the last skill type on my list are the traps. Rangers are the masters of traps. Usually this is a way to hurt your opponents, lure them into traps and deal damage to them. They are invisible, so nobody can see them. So I think these are the most important skill types. Now if we want to sort skills in a different way, we can talk about regular skills and elite skills. So elite skills are superior to regular skills, at least in most cases. There are some exceptions, of course, and I would say most of the time elite skills deal more damage, provide more heal, more protection, than regular skills, or have better recharge times or less energy cost, etc. In your build, under normal circumstances, you can have only one elite skill at a time, and usually the builds are constructed around the elite skills, trying to get the most out of the chosen elite skill. There are several ways to obtain an elite skill. For example, if you kill a boss and have a Signet of Capture in your build, just use it and voila, you have captured the elite skill. Another way is to unlock the elite skill at the Priest of Balthazar NPC, in the Great Temple of Balthazar outpost, and use an elite tome. This is a bit pricey method, of course, but can save precious time, and this can be done with regular skills too, not just with elite skills. There are regular and elite tomes to do that. They are like small books that contain all the skills that are already unlocked on your account, and there is one type for each class. So we have somewhat covered the weapons topic, but now let me give you some more details. Like I said, there are melee or ranged weapons, but technically there is a third category too, the offhand weapons, the shields and the focus items. Most weapons have a specific attribute requirement to fully utilize those items. This includes melee or ranged weapons, shields and focus items too. Should the attribute requirement not be met, the base stats from the item is significantly diminished or reduced. For example, if your weapon has a rank 9 requirement, but you only have rank 8 in this attribute, you will be doing only roughly 2/3 of the base damage. The same applies to shields and focus items too. If you don't have, for example, rank 9, but anything below that, you will receive less protection or less energy from the item. Generally speaking, as you start a new character, you will not find maximum damage weapons for a long time. The higher the enemy's level, the more likely to find max damage weapons, or max armor shields, or max energy focus items. Each weapon can be upgraded by different weapon mods, and some of them with inscriptions too. Now this is a very complex and very long topic, like there are some weapon mods that can extend the duration of enchantments, some help you deal more damage, some provide energy or HP on attacks, there are many different mods. I will just say that items that drop in prophecies and in factions have an inherent mod on them, and no matter what you do, you can change those. Now those weapons are called old school weapons. The whole inscription thing was introduced when Nightfall came out, hence why weapons from Nightfall and from Eye of the North already have an inscription slot on them, and you can change those anytime. While the prophecies and factions weapons don't have an inscription slot, but these way some rare skin and mod combos can be extremely rare and valuable to some old school weapon collectors. Yeah, just remember these prophecies and factions are the old school weapons, Nightfall and Eye of the North, and anything after those campaigns will give you weapons with an inscription slot. Runes, insignias and armor go hand in hand. You may buy runes and insignias from the rune trader or simply find them while playing the game. Keep an eye on the blue, purple and gold unidentified items. If you purchase an ID kit, you can see what magical components those armor pieces have, then you can salvage the runes or insignias with an expert salvage kit. There is a chance that the item will break as you salvage the magical components, so only salvage the runes and insignias if they are valuable. Okay, each class has 5 armor pieces. There is a headgear, a chest armor, a hand armor, leg armor and footwear. Each armor piece has a different chance to be hit while in combat. The chest armor has the biggest percentage, so if you are thinking about purchasing a new armor set but you have no money and you can only afford 1 or 2 new armor pieces, you should choose the chest piece to still have the biggest chance to reduce the incoming damage. Also, you can put 1 rune and 1 insignia to each armor piece. Some will increase your attributes. The headpiece should have inherent +1 attribute modifier, and it's advised to put a superior rune to this one, preferably of your main attribute. Then the rest is quite optional. Rule of thumb, don't use too many superior runes because your HP will be too low and you will be in the focus of the enemy. Good to know, some runes have a global effect and you should only put 1 to your armor pieces, like a vigor rune, and these runes are called non-stacking, meaning if you put multiple of this rune to all your armor pieces, only 1 will benefit you. By the way, the armor calculation is quite difficult in this game and I don't want to bore you to death with this one. Let's just say that there are many ways to increase your armor, like skills, weapon mods, runes and insignias. If you have to choose between more HP and more armor, I think the latter is more important because, for example, just extra 10 armor on all armor pieces will reduce the received damage by around 15%, which is quite a big difference. And some skills can do as high as plus 100 armor for a short period of time. Those can reduce armor respecting damage by more than 80%. And just 2 words about the damage types. Again, many different types can be found. The 2 most important categories are the armor respecting and the armor ignoring damage. Skills that respect armor are typically attack skills or some spells like a fireball or meteor shower. So these are the armor respecting damage types. If you put some armor increasing runes to your gear or your weapon has plus armor on it, this will always help and you will receive less armor respecting damage. Now, armor ignoring damage is way more uncommon. Mesmers are the masters of this type of damage, and no matter how high your target's armor rating is, these skills will always do the same amount of damage to the target, no matter what. As in most MMOs, you will gain experience points or XP for destroying foes. Once you collect enough XP for the next level, you will level up and be able to spend more attribute points. Most skills are related to your attributes, so the higher your attribute rank is, the stronger or more effective your skills in that group become. Rule of thumb, don't split your attribute points too much. I mean, in the first few levels you can do this, but later you should focus on 2 or maximum 3 attributes at one time. You can change your attribute ranks in an outpost anytime and experiment with the different variations. Obviously, as you level up, your character will become stronger and gain more HP. Max HP is around 500, and to keep the game challenging, the enemies will also increase as you progress in the campaigns. So in the first few areas you might find low level enemies, later they will be significantly stronger and usually higher level than you. The player's max level is 20 and the enemies can be easily over level 30 in endgame areas. And unlike in other games, leveling in Guild Wars 1 is just a short period in your adventure. You won't spend months waiting to reach max level. If you are an experienced player, you can probably reach level 20 in a day or 2 without too much effort, but don't worry, this is a good thing since the best things happen after level 20 anyway, like endgame areas, speed clears, solo farms, PvP, etc. Anyway, there are some ways to make your leveling faster. Like I said, at the campaigns, Nightfall and factions offer faster leveling, or you can do things like dwarf boxing in the Eye of the North. All you need is to reach level 10, travel to Eye of the North, then go to Gunner's Hold, and then you can level up quite fast with this quest. Another way to level up fast is done by XP scrolls. Some of them are cheap, some are pricey, but they can definitely speed up the process. And of course, if you have a helping friend who power levels your character, that's another way to level up fast. You will gain experience if you are in combat, meaning you have to do some damage to one of the enemies. Just hit them with a ranged weapon, then run away or something like that. This was quite a popular way of fast leveling back in 2005. You may have noticed, maybe not, there are different types of outposts. Some of them are major cities, some are small towns or villages, and some are mission outposts. Basically, the missions are how you can progress in the campaigns. Between missions you will run into primary quests. These are usually easier and shorter than missions are, and if your group dies, there are resurrection shrines where you will be resurrected and you can try it again. You will get some death penalty though. This will reduce your HP and your energy, but still you can continue the quest. Now, missions are not like this, because if your group gets destroyed during a mission, it's game over, there are no resurrection shrines and you must restart the whole thing. These missions have a primary and a secondary objective too. Now, if you only do the primary tasks, that's alright, you will progress nicely in the campaign, but you will not get credit for the Protector and Guardian titles. Many times the secondary or bonus objectives are only a small task or a short detour from the primary task, and if you do the bonus objective too, you will gain more XP and you can level up a bit faster and actually save time, since later you won't have to come back to complete the mission again. Anyway, if you need some guidance at some of the Prophecies, factions or Nightfall missions, or even in the Eye of the North primaries, check my videos, I have created a guide for these things, the link is in the description. A title is a text that can be displayed under the name of a character in an outpost. Some titles can be obtained in a few hours, some in a few days, some in several years. I think there are close to 45 titles in the game or something like that, and I believe that there is not one person who has maxed them all, at least not in a legit way. Personally, this is one of my favorite things to do, working on titles. You may have heard about Dhuum. This is another abbreviation, God walking amongst mere mortals, the highest rank you can achieve, or in short, you have to max 30 titles. Many players work on this achievement. Some players have one for each class, some players stop after 1 or 2 Dhuums. It's really personal preference. Basically, Dhuum is one of the biggest achievements in Guild Wars 1. If you simply beat the campaigns, that's also a title, but only one title, the Protector of Kanta, for example, and only if you have completed both the primary and the secondary objectives. But there are a lot more titles than that, and I've made a Dhuum guide. If you're interested, the link is in the description. After the titles, let's make a detour and talk about some special NPCs called heroes and henchmen. Like I said, you can play Guild Wars completely on your own, almost as if it was a single player game. So if you're a lonely wolf, this is fine, you can add henchmen to your team and beat the game like that. These henchmen can be found in almost every outpost and they are always available, but their skills and builds are not the best. I mean, they do a decent job, but usually in the last areas of each campaign they will be weak compared to the enemies. Now heroes are quite the opposite, since you have to do certain quests to get them, and the majority of them are only available in Nightfall and in Eye of the North. Some of them you will get very easily simply by playing the story, some of them will join you after you finish the campaign. You can give them weapons, you can make their armor stronger, give them runes, change their secondary professions, give them better skills, almost the same stuff as you can do with your own character. The truth is that once you reach a meta hero team, you will be fast rolling through 95% of the content, even in hard mode. You know, back in the days we could only add 3 heroes, and I think it was good because you were forced to play with at least another real player, but those days are gone, and nowadays you can add even 7 heroes to your team. I think it was a necessary bet when the majority of the player base moved to Guild Wars 2 and developers had to do something to keep the game enjoyable and playable for the remaining players. All in all, heroes are fun, they can be super strong, and you can display their builds if you want, just click this icon at their names. And you can disable their skills, just press shift and click on that skill that you don't want the hero to use. Also, you can change their behavior. If you put them on avoid combat, they will not attack enemies or not use skills on them, and they will try to run away from enemies if they can. If you choose guard, they will attack enemies, but only if you attack a target or if someone attacks the team. And finally, there is a fight mode when heroes become more aggressive. Usually my heroes are in the guard mode, this way I can control them better and they don't YOLO too much, but it's personal preference. You can try the fight mode too if you want, or put some in guard and some in fight and mix it up. A short mention of mercenary heroes: they can be bought from the Guild Wars store for money, and they are like a copy of your own characters. The only differences between mercenary and standard heroes are that players have full control over their names and appearances. If you want to make a full Mesmer team, for example, you can do this with mercenaries, since you can define their primary professions too on creation. In my opinion, the game is already quite easy with the current regular hero teams, but it's up to you. If you want, you can buy it in the store. This could be a frequently asked question too: what to do after level 20? Well, there is a pretty good chance that when you reach level 20 you will be nowhere near to the end of any campaigns, so tip number 1, beat all the campaigns. First do it in normal mode, then do it in hard mode. Then you can start getting more skills and elite skills, better gear, more heroes, and so on and so on. Then you can start working on titles, try speed clears, make money, and buy fancy armor, play PvP, enjoy Pre-Searing, and build a community, and whatever you want. Seriously, there are many things you can do. I made a fairly similar vid. The title is What to Do If You Are Bored. Maybe it is worth a watch if you are out of ideas. Okay, I have mentioned hard mode a few times already. Now let's see what this is all about. So when you start the game, that's normal mode, or NM in short. Then you beat the campaigns and unlock the hard mode version 2 on the account and for other characters too. The only requirement is to reach level 20, then simply click on this red helmet icon And you know, hard mode offers a new challenging game mode, and it's not just that the monsters will be higher level compared to their normal mode versions, but their skills, their behavior will also drastically change. This hard mode versus normal mode change is the most noticeable in low level areas, in the first areas in each campaign, like level 2 enemies in normal mode and level 20 plus in hard mode. Of course, for greater challenges you receive greater rewards and more XP, plus playing in hard mode opens new titles as well, and it's a good way to develop as a player. While in normal mode you can relax and play very comfortably, in hard mode you must be on your toes and pay attention to more details and not aggro too many groups. If we want to sort the limitless amount of foes in this game, we could start with bosses and normal foes. Well, bosses have a colored aura and in most cases a unique name too. They are usually higher level than their allies, and compared to normal enemies they have more skills or higher attributes or better builds. Most bosses possess a few pips of HP regen, have more armor or more HP, and they deal more damage. In Prophecies and Eye of the North, most bosses have natural resistance. This means that the duration of conditions and hexes on these creatures are halved. In most cases this is a huge handicap for the players, and it takes more effort to defeat these enemies. In Factions, Nightfall and in Eye of the North, bosses deal double damage and have halved skill activation and recharge times. The double damage part can be scary, especially in hard mode and against bosses that do area of effect or EOE damage. This way they might wipe the entire group very easily. But don't worry, there are ways to neutralize their damage, but some bosses can be really strong and hard to kill because of their natural damage booster abilities. Killing a boss yields more experience points, of course, and you will receive a morale boost, and this will increase your group's HP and energy and recharge all your skills. Bosses can drop more items than regular foes. In hard mode they might drop an elite tome, you know, this small book that can be used to learn new elite skills. And some bosses can also drop green weapons. Some words regarding item rarity. I have already mentioned some of them, but let's go into details now. You may remember that mobs may drop white, blue, purple and gold armor pieces, but actually we have 6 rarity levels. White rarity is the most common if we are talking about weapons or armor pieces. White rarity items have the least value and there are no upgrades or mods in these items. Blue and purple items have more value and these might have some magical components like runes, insignias or mods on them. Then there are the gold items, these are the rarest, and usually gold weapons have max or near max stats. Then there are the green or unique items, like the previously mentioned green weapons that drop from bosses or from end chests. And finally the red rarity, those are the PvP rewards, but you will not run into those in PvE. By the way, this rarity level thing can be found not just in weapons, but in mini pets, in armor pieces and in a bunch of other stuff too. This is probably everyone's favorite topic, how you can make money and be wealthier than anyone else. Honestly, you can get a living simply by playing the game and picking up all the items, identifying the unneeded items and salvaging the valuable runes, selling materials to the traders, etc. Just have to do it in a smart way. If this isn't enough, you can do solo farming. This is my favorite thing to do in this game. If you are interested, go and watch my top 25 solo farm video, the link is in the description. There are many other money making methods though. You can do speed clears, some of them are very profitable, like Domain of Anguish speed clears or the Underworld speed clears, or you can do daily Zaishan quests and get some Zaishan coins, then exchange the coins for many different items. This is also a good way to play with random players because these quests change day by day, so you can do something new every day and also work on titles if you want. Then there are the typical buy low, sell high, aka power trading things. Personally, I find it super boring and pointless in a game, but it is what it is. Also, you can do PvP and get Balthazar faction and exchange it for Zaishan keys and farm different PvP on the rewards. Now trading itself is simple and we have an outpost for that. This is Kamadan, a major city in the Nightfall campaign. To start a trade, target someone and click on the trade icon. The trading window will pop up and you can simply drag items to this window. You can put items there or cash or whatever you want. Almost all items can be traded, but of course there are some rare exceptions. Now click on submit offer to show your offer to your trading partner, and if it's acceptable by both sides, click on accept. The trade will show up in the chat window as well. If the offer is unacceptable, you can change the items, take some out, put some back and do another submit offer. Now if you want to buy or sell items, go to the trade chat and type WTS as want to sell or WTB as want to buy and name your items, and it's best to say a price too. Your message will appear in the party search window in the trade section. If someone messages you and you want to trade with this person, double click on their name, and if they are in the same district as you are, you can start the trade once you get close to their character. Sadly, there are no offline trading methods yet, maybe this will change in the future, who knows. If you want to price check, there is a website called Command Trade Chat. All the trade messages are transported 24/7 to this website. And if you just want to know the price of something, type the name and you will see many results. For rare drops, especially for old school rare weapons, you should use the Guild Wars Legacy website. Without a doubt, events are the most fun period of the year. An event is like a big celebration or a big festival. There are some really big events like Christmas in December, Anniversary event in May, Halloween in October, Dragon Festival in June, and so on and so on. During these events you get the opportunity to do special event only quests, participate in minigames, obtain different consumable items, get special festival hats and more. Many of these event-only items, or consumables as we call them, can be used to max titles or to make your character stronger in combat. If you enjoy solo farming, you can easily pile up on these consumables, and the best thing is that these are extra drops and do not reduce the casual normal drops, and your chat window will be full like this. In the game's current status, these events are automated, meaning they will always happen at the same time of the year, but I think this is a good thing since you can prepare in advance and profit from these festivals as much as you want. Okay, let's move to the next chapter, Pre-Searing. I want to encourage everyone who is watching this video to go and create at least one character in the Prophecies campaign and spend at least a day or two in this tutorial area called Pre-Searing. I don't want to spoiler, so won't tell you why it's called Pre-Searing, but this is such a unique and friendly community that you must try this out. I mean, even if you just do a few quests and admire the landscapes, it's already worth it, but there is a lot more in Pre-Searing than this. This is like a whole different game inside the game with a chill atmosphere, beginner-friendly gameplay, different economy, and limited amount of skills. So you may not know, but once you leave this area there is no coming back, and because of this only new characters can reach this place. And guess what? Many players maintain one or several perma-pre characters just for Pre-Searing. Maybe some of us just for nostalgia, some for farming char in the Northlands, some for the community, the music or the vibe. So give it a try, you won't be disappointed. Okay, I don't want to talk too much about this video is going to be pretty long anyway, but you will see many things like ST, SOS, E-Search or just E, A and stuff like this in the chat. These are all abbreviations and can be quite confusing for new or returning players. Many of them come from different builds and elite skill names, some come from area names, some from material names, and I try to make an in-depth summary, stop the video here if needed. Regarding useful websites, I have already mentioned two useful ones, the Command Trade Chat for checking prices and Guild Wars Legacy for old school weapons. The numero uno has to be the Guild Wars wiki. If you press F10 and type something, the wiki page will show up. The Guild Wars wiki is a very precise, very well written website and I highly recommend you use it. Don't be lazy, many times you will get the answers faster from wiki than you would get from someone else in the game. If you're thinking about doing speed clears, the speed clear wiki is a must-have. Builds, gear, general tips, all the good stuff are here, even guide videos. If you need builds, check the PVX wiki. There are many different categories here, general builds, farming build, running builds, etc. And you can even browse builds by profession. They have their own build ranking system. Great is basically the meta, the best builds, and you don't have to agree with the ranking at all costs. I mean, if you enjoy playing no meta but good category build, do it and have fun. You know, some of the rankings are too strict anyway. Well, this is meant to be a PvE guide, but we can't ignore PvP. You should at least know what are the opportunities in player versus player content. So let's start with random arenas. 2 randomly selected teams of 4 compete in a deathmatch. I think this might be the most fun for those who are still in the learning phase of PvP. Just choose a good build and give it a try in the random arenas. Codex Arena is somewhat similar, it's also a 4 vs 4 battle, but those teams are organized and not randomly chosen, plus skills are also limited. Then there are the factions related PvP like alliance battles where 6 organized teams of 4 players fight against each other, and this is like a capture the flag or capture a shrine play. This and the Fort Espenwood, the Jade Quarry are somewhat similar because in these arenas players fight as Kha'Zix or as Luxons, the 2 rival factions. Heroes Ascend is an 8 vs 8 battle, and Guild vs Guild is also 8 vs 8, but the main goal here is to destroy the opponent's guild lord. By the way, there are low level PvP arenas too, but I think those are not popular anymore, so let's skip them for now. Alright, sometimes I get comments like this: I can't do any of those builds you post, your videos are for experienced players only, none of it is useful for people just starting. I mean, this is somewhat true, I haven't uploaded any beginner friendly builds yet, or any low level builds. Now, since you can start your character in free campaigns and choose 10 professions, this means a lot of variations to cover. And my solution for this is simply the PvX Wiki's beginner hero team. There is a pretty good guide on this topic, go to the website and look around in the PvE builds by category section, then go to the general and choose great. Here you will find 7 hero beginner team. And this guide isn't just about how to make your heroes better, but there are player build suggestions for low level characters. Just scroll down a bit and here you will see all 10 classes, click on one and choose your campaign. Then simply try to load these builds, copy the template and load it to your character. You may not have all the skills yet, but at least you will get an idea or a direction of which skills are worth playing in the low levels. This guide will also give you hero build ideas, and again, you may not have all the hero skills yet. Even if you have just 4 or 5 of those skills, you will make your team more effective, and day by day you will get closer to the best or meta hero builds. By the way, I have also made a 7 hero guide video. If you want to watch it, the link is in the description. Okay, we are getting close to the end of this video. Some very general tips for those who are still watching. The first tips will be combat or gameplay related, then I will say a few things about money making too. Tip number 1, improve your armor as much as you can. I'm talking about purchasing a new armor set and also putting runes and insignias on them. As you progress in the campaign, enemies will become stronger, get higher level, better skills, and if you don't make your own gear better, you will suffer and die many times. This may sound obvious for some of you, but I know some players that don't craft new armor sets and then complain that the game is too hard for them. Second tip is to use the Guild Wars wiki. It's easy to use and very detailed. Even after 20 years of Guild Wars, I still use it almost every day. And I don't think this will make your achievements smaller, more like this will widen your knowledge, extend your understanding of the game and make you a better player overall. My next tip somewhat goes against wiki, but if you really can't go further in the story or if you are lost somewhere, ask for help. This game has a pretty friendly community and I'm sure many veterans will gladly help. Just go to a major city and let people know that you are stuck somewhere. Sometimes, especially in prophecies, it's not too obvious which direction to go or which NPC to talk to, and you can always look around on the world map and see your last mission outpost. Then just type mission and click on your campaign. You will find your last quest or mission pretty soon and you will know where to go. Okay, next one is to try multiple professions. I know that everybody has one favorite class and it's alright, but if you want to be a better player or a more diverse player, you must know more skills and several different game styles. You created a coaster? That's fine, why don't you try a ranged or melee profession next time? Okay, next tip is about attributes. The max attribute points are 200. If you don't have 200, you haven't completed the attribute quest yet. Again, press F10, type attribute quest, and there you have it, folks. And another tip, like I said, try to stick to 2 or maximum 3 attributes. If you split your attribute points too much, you will become less efficient. Another tip, I can't emphasize this enough, keep an eye on the compass. I wish I could show you some eye movement tracker stuff. I swear like 50% of the time I'm checking the compass. The bread and butter of combat, if it's too small or you have bad eyes, just make it bigger, you can customize it. Okay, and some tips regarding skills and builds. Rule of thumb, HP degen and HP regen gets less and less useful as you get higher and higher levels. Like I said, there is a cap, maximum 20 damage loss or heal per second. This means that if you are a max level character and have like 500 HP, you should not focus too much on degen or regen skills. Why? Because the gameplay has become incredibly fast, like you can destroy most targets in 4 or 5 seconds. Why would you bother with skills that do -3 or -4 HP degen? Or if you are a healer, don't use healing breeze on higher levels. This will not save your teammates, it will not heal enough. Degen skills are slow, for sure they have a place in the game, you know where? In PvP. For example, in guild versus guild fights, when it takes several minutes to kill a single target, and you can put pressure on your opponent's team with a constant HP degen, but that's a different story. Okay, weapon sets. You don't have more than one, it means that you are still a beginner. You should get at least a longbow or flatbow for pulling enemies, and a shield set and your main weapon. This is 3 weapon sets already. Then you can add the high energy set if you want, and you will have the 4 sets easily. By the way, pulling is a great way to separate groups from each other. This is usually done by a flatbow or longbow. Just do an auto attack and move backwards. This way you can pull your targets out of dangerous areas and you can separate them from other groups. Okay, now some tips for money making. The most obvious tip for money making, don't be lazy and pick up the loot. Sadly, there are no item picking NPCs in this game and you have to collect the drops yourself, but this is only a very small task and you can click or simply get close to the item and press the spacebar. This will pick up the item. Okay, another one, check the material and rune trader prices when you sell something. Don't sell your drops blindly to the merchant. Some items might be more valuable to the material trader or to the rune trader NPCs. Identify everything that has some hidden magical components on it, aka unidentified items. If there is a big event going on, don't sell your event only items immediately, wait a few weeks and the price will go higher. This is simple demand and supply. If many players are trying to sell the same consumables, for example, the price will drop. And yet another tip, you know, sometimes new players get rare old school items but they don't recognize that they have got something valuable and they might sell the item to the merchant. If you are uncertain, check Commentary Chat or Guild Wars Legacy, or even watch my old school weapon guide, so rather ask some experienced players than match a rare skin by accident. And another one, you don't see it, but the heroes and the henchmen also leech drops, not just gold coins. There is an easy way to test this, just flag your heroes and henchmen somewhere, make sure that their names fade in the party window, and then you can start farming something. If they are far away, they can't steal your drops anymore, and this is a good technique that can be used in solo farming too. And now that, as I mentioned, flagging, I made a quickie on how to flag all your 7 heroes. It's a short bit, but definitely worth a watch if you don't know how to do it. And guess what? The link is in the description. Alright guys, I might expand the tip section sometime in the future and make it a standalone video. I think this was enough Guild Wars for today. So this was my updated beginner's guide. Please rate the video or subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.